Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is with us now. Senator, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
So
What
much
a wonderful day.
I know, lots to talk about with
Right.
you. Let's start with Iran.
Okay.
Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, notifying Congress in effect that the administration is going to review the Iran deal.
Right.
I know you're not a fan of that deal. The president is certainly not a fan of that deal. If you undo it now, has Iran received all the benefit, and then we are walking away from what would be the benefit to the U.S. and to the West?
Well, here's what I would say. They've gotten most of the money, or are in the process of getting most of the money. When you look at the deal, but when it was signed until now, they've not gotten better. They've gotten worse. They're still the largest state-sponsored terrorism. They're helping the Houthis in Yemen. They're backing Assad. They help Hezbollah. So what I would do if I were the administration, I'd put sanctions on the regime for violating the UN resolution on missile test, humiliating our sailors, and being a large state-sponsored terrorism, separate from the deal.
I was going to say, is that different than the
Yeah.
deal? Because the deal itself didn't look at those issues of Iran's
biggest
sponsorship
mistake of the
of terrorism.
deal was to disconnect the behavior of the regime from their nuclear program.
Let me ask you about another story this morning, and that is the story about the USS Carl Vinson. The president had said we're sending an armada to the Korean Peninsula. The Secretary of Defense said the same thing, Jim Mattis. And yet it was 3,500 miles away on its way to the Indian Ocean to carry out exercises with the Australian Navy.
They must not get tweets in the Navy.
Well, how in the world does that happen? What a lot of Americans are wondering, how in the world does that happen?
I don't know. I know obviously a miscommunication, but they're headed in the right direction. The fact that the vice president goes to the DMZ and looks across the border and says to the North Koreans, we're not going to allow you to get a missile to hit our homeland is pretty striking. We're on a collision course with North Korea. I talked to the president when I had lunch with him about this very topic. I said, do you want on your resume that during your presidency, the North Koreans developed a missile that could hit the American homeland with a nuclear weapon on top of it? He said, absolutely not. And that's what this is all about.
And so what did you suggest to the president he do beyond putting pressure on China?
Tell China that if you don't take care of it, we will.
What does that mean? How will we take care of it?
It means that if China can't stop the regime from building a missile that could one day hit the American homeland, that we would do everything, including diplomatic sanctions and military strike, to stop their missile program. Look at it this way. Do you really want North Korea to have a missile that can hit California with a nuclear weapon on top of it? 20 years ago, North Korea really didn't have any nuclear weapons. Every Republican and every Democrat has screwed up North Korea. They're close to getting a missile to hit the homeland. Now's the time to stop.
So
We're on a collision course with these
You'd be
guys.
for a preemptive strike?
If that's what it would take. I'm not going to allow, with my vote in the Senate, North Korea to develop a missile with a nuclear weapon on top to hit America. Not going to happen. China can stop it if they want to. If they don't, I think President Trump will. I hope they're listening in North Korea.
Real quickly to button that up, if the U.S. were to launch a preemptive strike, we'd be at war in the Korean Peninsula, correct?
It'd be terrible, but the war would be over here. It wouldn't be here. You know, it'd be bad for the Korean Peninsula. It'd be bad for China. It'd be bad for Japan. It'd be bad for South Korea. It'd be the end of North Korea. But what it would not do is hit America. And the only way it could ever come to America is with a missile. And we're not going to let that happen, I hope.
Real quickly, let's talk politics. Your state next door, Georgia,
Yeah.
there was this congressional race. This is a seat that Republicans have long held, but it wasn't a seat that Trump won very
Right.
handily.
Point and a half.
Yeah, point and a half. So it was a close race. The Democrat gets the top votes in this special election. Does that mean it's just a one-off? Do you look at this as an ominous sign of things to come for Republicans? How do you interpret it?
Well, that district is obviously changing. The congressman won by 20-something points. Trump won by 1.5. This guy basically got Clinton's vote. I think you'll see a casting of this race, Hollywood versus Georgia. But the South is changing. Atlanta is changing. And I like our chances in a runoff, but we need to wake up as a party. There are districts like this all over the country that are getting much more moderate. And I think Karen will do a good job. She's probably the best Republican we could have chosen. I like her chances of winning this seat, but this should be a wake-up call for the Republican Party in the South.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham, always good to talk to you.